What do you do when life forces you to start over from nothing? In part 2, I'm taking you into one of the hardest seasons I've ever faced. A chapter where everything I thought was secure nearly slipped away overnight. I'll share how I found hope when everything felt lost, how faith carried me through the ashes, and what those days taught me about who I really am. This part of my story is raw, real, and closer to my heart than ever before. Lock in, because sometimes losing everything is what saves you. This is the manifestation of Manoah, part 2. Make sure you guys go to part 1 if you haven't already, and let's hop right in. Where I left off last part is I was walking into the middle of the hallway and I seen smoke coming up the stairs. I immediately panic. I turn around and I run into my parents' room, because my parents' room were right next to my room upstairs. And as I'm running to my parents' room, the smoke is like coming all the way up the stairs. Like I can't even see the stairs. I can't even see the bottom of the stairs. I run into my parents' room and I call my mom first, and my mother doesn't answer the phone. So then I called my stepdad. My stepdad answered the phone. My mom and my stepdad were on the way to a trip to South Carolina. So they were about maybe like 4 or 5 hours into their drive at this time. And I call my stepdad and I'm like, I think the house is on fire. I don't know what to do. There's smoke coming up the stairs. The house is smoking. I'm not sure what to do. And my stepdad is like, what? Like, where are you? Like, are you still in the house? Like, what is going on? And I freeze on the phone. My stepdad immediately tells me to get out the house. And y'all, I'm like frozen. I'm like in shock. And he says it again, get out the house. And then I'm still not moving. And y'all, like, he says it one more time. He's like, get out the house. So my parents had a balcony in their house. So I ran out onto the balcony. I looked to the side. The whole side of the house is on fire. And guys, I'm standing on the balcony and I'm still on the phone with my stepdad, and then at this point we're on FaceTime. And I turn the camera and my mother starts screaming. But then I see some neighbors come to the back where I was on the balcony, and they're telling me like, you gotta jump down from the balcony, like come on, like jump down from the balcony. I jump off the balcony. One of the neighbors catch me. They like, called the ambulance, the firefighters arrived. Now it's just getting really chaotic. I had called my brother. As soon as I got off from the balcony, my neighbors took me over to their house. And when they took me over to their house, I'm sitting on their porch and I'm calling my brother, letting him know like the house is on fire. Now everybody is rushing home. My stepdad and my mom are 5 hours away, but they done turned around at this point. They're on their way back home. My brother's girlfriends at this time are on their way to come get me, because I'm still the only one at home witnessing the fire at this time. So I just remember after that, I was having a really, really hard time breathing, because some of the smoke had got into like my lungs, or I had inhaled some of the smoke trying to, escape out the house. So they put like a breathing tube on me, and I'm trying to breathe, and I'm just trying to catch my breath from everything that was going on, and just from damn near almost losing my life. And I'm looking at the house that I've been in for the past 12, 13 years, just being burned to the ground. And in that moment, I just was so lost for words. Like, I was just so lost for words, because I was just like, I don't have a home. Like, I don't have a home. My parents don't have, like, we're not gonna have a home. Where are we gonna live? And I'm also just sitting over here like, I could have died. Like, I almost lost my life. It was just terrible, you guys. It was just terrible. So fast forward, like the firefighters came, they end up putting the fire out. There's a video on YouTube of our fire. Our fire was all over the news. Our fire was on PG County's website. Like, everybody knew that our house had burned down. My brothers had arrived home, and then my parents got home like hours later. My brother's girlfriends got there, and y'all, my mother is bawling, my brother is bawling, they're giving me hugs, we're all just crying, and I'm like, I'm okay. And it was such a hard day, y'all. Everybody was crying, everybody was screaming. We had so many good memories there. That was the home that we had moved to as soon as I was born. And to just see like our entire house just burned down to the ground, not knowing where we're gonna stay next, not knowing what we're gonna do next, it was really, really hard. That day was the most emotional day for me and my family. We all bawled our eyes out. I forgot to say, we also did end up rebuilding our house, and here are some pictures here.
We ended up rebuilding my childhood home, and we sold that house to a new owner, and then we started building our new house, which is the one that I stay in now. So I just wanted to put that out there. Another disclaimer, after we started the process of having the house built, the house rebuilt, we were originally gonna move back, but I was having PTSD about moving back, which prompted me and my family to just stay in Charles County and get a new house out there. So yeah, just want to throw that in there also.
3 days later, it was my birthday. That was probably one of the most sentimental birthdays I've ever had and the most emotional birthdays I've ever had, because I literally could have been dead 3 days before my birthday. I literally could have not been here. That fire could have went many different ways. I could have not made it out. I could have burned. I could have lost my life. It was just a huge blessing to have made it out of something that traumatic. We moved to a hotel in Waldorf, Maryland, and we stayed there for about a month. After we did that, we ended up getting a rental house that was really, really nice, you guys. And we stayed in that house for a couple of months while also in the process of building a new home. It was nice to be able to stay in a home again. It was nice to be able to be in a home again. Shortly after staying in that rental house, our new house was finally built, and we moved in 2018, and y'all, it was so amazing. The house is super, super nice. It was more space. It was bigger. At the time that we lost our house, we were thinking like, okay, what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna live now? And when I tell y'all, God enlarged our territory. God gave us more than what we could have asked for. And God really blessed us. He gave us a bigger space, more room, and more territory for us to make new memories on. God gave us a fresh start. He removed our old home to give us something new. As traumatic as that fire was, that was also a blessing in disguise, because I was able to get a fresh start. Once we moved down here, I started going to a whole new school in a whole brand new county. And y'all, it was such a change. Like, it was really a breath of fresh air. I remember feeling so excited to just go to a new school and to just be around a new area. There was so much stuff that happened at my childhood house, at my childhood neighborhood, at the schools within my previous county that I was going to, that really just made it very hard for me to move on and for me to kind of start over and refresh. So to be able to have a new start, to be in a new county where nobody knows me, and to not have any bad tension in the air, or to not have any lingering feelings from that negative environment that I was in, carrying around those negative feelings, I was now in a whole brand new space to start over. And that was one of the best things that I think God could have ever did for me and my family. We all were able to get a fresh start, and it was really, really amazing. So I started my 8th grade year down here. I finished and graduated. I was still in special ed, guys. My grades had gotten better. I was making new friends. The bullying had kind of slowed down at this point. I wasn't really fighting anymore, so it had kind of stopped. But I was still experiencing some minor bullying here and there, of just being called names and things like that. But I was progressing. I was really starting to find myself a little bit. So y'all, I finished out middle school. And after I finished out middle school, I transitioned to high school. And when I was in elementary, middle school, I was taking medication. The hospital that tested me also recommended my mother to put me on medication. So I started taking medication when I was 6 or 7, and I got off my medication before I went to high school. So I was probably about 13, 14. So y'all, I was taking medicine for a really, really long time. And y'all, I hated taking medicine because I felt like it was doing me more harm than good. But I also felt like I didn't want to become reliant on the medication. And it got to the point to where like the people around me made me feel like that if I didn't have my medicine, that I wouldn't be able to contain myself or control myself. But the main problem was y'all didn't even give me an opportunity to try. I just remember feeling like y'all are keeping me on this medicine because y'all claim and y'all feel like I can't control myself. But y'all are not even giving me the opportunity to prove to y'all how I can be without medication or without some type of reinforcement. Before I went to high school, y'all, I had a conversation with my mother, and I sat her down and I said, take me off medication. Like, I don't want to be on medication anymore. Give me an opportunity to prove to you that I can control myself, that I can navigate my emotions, that I can control myself. I want an opportunity to prove to you that I can manage my emotions without being on a medication, without having to rely on some type of medication to get me through. And at first she was hesitant about it, y'all, but she eventually said yes, and I got off my medication and I was fine. I started doing so much better, y'all. Like, I started doing so much better. It was just such an amazing feeling to be improving and to be off medicine. I just felt like a brand new me. And going through that house fire really made me gain such a deeper appreciation for life, that like every day is not promised, you guys. You could be here one day and gone the next, and that is really what the fire taught me, is just how precious and grateful you have to be of your life, because your life can end in the blink of an eye. So it taught me to be more grateful and more appreciative of not only what I have, but of my own life as well, and of my family's lives, and to not waste time here on earth being mad or upset or lingering feelings and holding stuff, because you could be gone tomorrow and never be able to reconcile with the people that you had an issue with or that you were holding grudges against. I'm now a freshman in high school, and I'm going through high school, y'all. I remember being so excited for high school. I remember being so excited to just progress through high school, and I remember being so excited to be at a new school and to be going through high school. One thing I can say about high school, y'all, high school was fun. My high school experience was so fun. Like, freshman year was cool. I instantly got involved in the drama club. I instantly got involved in the choir. I actually did get a role in one of the plays also. It was called Chicago, the musical. You guys know Chicago, the musical. So I got casted in that, and I was one of the background dancers, and I had like 2 little parts as like one of the court judges. And y'all, I was so excited. That role was so much fun. The cast was so much fun. The seniors there were amazing. Like, y'all, it was really, really good. And it was really, really fun. So freshman year was one for the books. Sophomore year, guys, I only went to school for half the year, because that is when COVID struck and we had to go virtual. And when we went virtual, y'all, it was different, but being virtual really, really helped me mature a lot. I was virtual the rest of sophomore year and all of junior year, and when I tell y'all, that helped me a lot. That time in the house, you guys, really just allowed me to work on me. It gave me the opportunity to heal and work on myself. Even though that COVID was an awful time, it was hard doing online school. We were on laptops, we were on Zoom calls. Online school just was not it for me. The time at home just really helped me work on myself and helped me mature. And I feel like I really just needed that time to be at home, to really just tap into who I was and to really figure out who I wanted to be, and to come to a clear understanding about who Manoah is. I really feel like when I was going through middle school, and when I was going through my bullying, and when I was going through being harassed, I didn't know myself for so long. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to do in life. I just did not know who I wanted to be as a person. And I feel like a lot of my previous years in my elementary and middle school years, I lost myself. Those were the years where I felt so lost. Those were the years where I felt not myself. And high school really helped me establish my identity, and it really helped me figure out who I ultimately wanted to be and what reputation I wanted to have and how I wanted people to look at me. I finished out my sophomore year. I finished out my junior year. I passed all my classes, and I came back to school in person for my senior year. Senior year was amazing. Senior year was such an amazing time, y'all. That was my best year by far in high school, was my senior year. I had joined a dance team, so I was dancing now. I was still doing acting, so I got casted to be the Scarecrow in The Wiz. Senior year was a blast, y'all. Senior prom, graduation, we had a senior picnic. Like, y'all, it was so fun. Senior prank. Y'all, my senior year was so teased. I passed all my classes. I was still in special ed, but by my senior year, I didn't have any classes within the special ed program, so I wasn't in those restricting and small settings anymore. I was in the open settings and back to being in regular classes with like 20, 25 students. And y'all, I remember being so excited about that. It was so good to be able to be back in regular classes. Y'all, I hadn't been in a regular class for so long since that point. I mean, I had some classes out, but I hadn't had like the feeling of having like a full day schedule with all your classes out in the open. I hadn't had that for so long. So it was really amazing to be able to be out of the special ed program and to be able to attend regular classes again while still being in the program, because I was able to see more of my friends that were outside of the special education program. I had felt like a regular kid again, and when I was in special ed, I didn't feel like a regular kid. I felt like a bad kid who was being chained up and locked behind bars. So it was really, really amazing being able to just get back out and get that feeling of regular classes again. My senior year, y'all, I really had felt like I had really discovered who I was. I knew who I was. I felt like I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go, and I was ready to embrace the next chapter of my life, which was college. And even though I didn't know what adulthood would bring and I was a little nervous about it, I was ready to take a leap of faith. I was ready to graduate. My high school experience definitely was really, really good, y'all. I definitely had my challenges. I went through my fair share of fake friends, and I had a lot of falling out with friends, and I definitely did have my fair share of drama in high school, but it was nowhere compared to how bad it was during my elementary and middle school years. So graduating high school, walking across that stage, I just felt so accomplished, y'all. I was ready. I felt like I worked very hard. And I felt like all my hard work and everything that I had put in was finally being rewarded. I feel like all the hard work, all the trials and tribulations, I had finally made it out of high school, and I was so happy to finally be done. I was happy to finally be leaving school and stepping into the next chapter of my life. And during my senior year, I would hear a lot about college and a lot about how the experience was. So I was very excited that I was getting ready to explore that part of my life, and I couldn't wait to see what it unfolded. Shortly after I graduated high school, I had one question. What college am I going to? Where do I want to go? So what was the next step for Manoah?